We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
The favorite should be 220-ish, and here, you could lay $1.65.
So getting a plus 315 price here for this one to go to overtime. I like it.
Their strength is their defense. I like the under.
Join Sports by the Book Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
Get ready for the most massive madness party in Las Vegas. Join us March 19th through the 21st right here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. It's 3 straight days of massive video screens, massive food and drink specials, massive access to betting windows and kiosks. The only thing that's not massive is the price. Free parking and entry as always. Tip-off to the madness starts right here at South Point Hotel and Casino, March 19th through the 21st.
Here we go. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Welcome in. This is Sports by the Book. Let's get right to it. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick. We both got our green on. Ryan, I went with the green LV from the Aviators, but also matches up with the Athletics. You went really Irish for us.
Yeah, fighting Irish here today. I have that same polo, and I just decided I didn't want to wear Packers colors because that was what my dad confused it with the last time I wore it. So, yeah, definitely went with the fighting Irish here on St. Patrick's Day. So hopefully we got some good luck for you guys today.
That's what I was thinking. Let's have this green carryover for our wallets as well. A ton of action to get to. What are you looking forward to the most? We've got playing games. We've got NIT. We've got hockey. And, of course, we've got USA versus Venezuela.
Yep, the World Baseball Classic Championship on the line. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. But we got a full slate of hockey. Well, not full slate, but a 9-game slate of hockey with some great games on that slate. So there's going to be plenty of fun games to watch tonight.
Definitely is. And before we jump into that, why don't we do a recap of yesterday with some trends? And somebody needs to tell the Dallas Stars that they are supposed to play the day before St. Patrick's Day too. They were just waiting, but so that was a loss for us. But other than that, I think we were leaning to the right side. Pittsburgh showed up big, so help me with that over. Got there themselves without Sidney Crosby. But yeah, so overall, how was your night?
Not a great night for the whiteboard. That Pittsburgh blowout in Colorado. Yeah, Evgeny Malkin really showed up and made a difference for that offense. They score up 7 goals, so get to that over for you by themselves. This game was a pain to watch. I don't know if anybody saw my little bit of disgust on Twitter, but it was 1-0 at the end of one. It took until 17:35, I believe, in the first period to get the first goal. So the first period ended 1-0. And then within a 10-minute span of the second period, it got to 6. It was 4-2 Red Wings at that, 1-0 Calgary at the end of one, then 4-2 Red Wings to get to 6. And then the empty net goal to push it over didn't happen until a minute 40 left in the game. So we got a third period to probably push, and then the empty net down 2 to get us over that total. So that's a loser there. Didn't get the push there. The Devils did get it done in overtime with 6 seconds left in overtime before going to a shootout. So that one was a fun watch. Yeah, Dallas was not at all a fun watch. That one was entertaining if you wanted the goals, but we were rooting for, you liked the goals. I liked it to be a close game. Was not that. And then Italy found a way to, their bullpen found a way to kind of blow that one there. So not a great day on the whiteboard. We're hoping to do a lot better today. But to recap the trends and final numbers of the closing odds based on the South Point Sportsbook closing numbers, we'll start in the NBA. Favorites in 8 games. Won all 8 games, 8-0 straight up, 6-2 against the spread. The 2 favorites to win but not cover would be the Boston Celtics, who were a 9-point favorite against the Suns. Celtics at home there, only win by 8, so didn't cover by 120, 112. And then the Spurs were on the road in Los Angeles against the Clippers. Spurs were an 8-point favorite. They end up winning by 4, 119, 115. That game also pushed on the total of 234. So totals yesterday in the NBA went 3, 4, and 1. Going to the NHL in the 5 games, 3-2 straight up. 4 games had a puck line covered, except for the Devils-Bruins game, which went to overtime. 2 of those puck lines were reverse, and totals 4 and 1 to the over. And then bringing up spring training, 6 and 5 straight up were the favorites. 9 games had a run line covered, 3 of which were reverse, and totals were 4 and 7 there in spring training yesterday. The game did go under in Italy, Venezuela. So favorite won that one.
I do think you had the right side. I mean, they did have the lead, right? So getting that plus price. But now we've got our matchup for tonight. I am looking forward to that. I'm a little shocked with hockey going 4 and 1 to the over. As you mentioned, pretty bad beat for us on that 1 under. But yeah, the other one's a lot of goals. We'll see what we get today. This is Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino, as we always are. You can find our show live 5 days a week. We're 10 a.m. Pacific time. And this week, we have something very special going on starting Thursday, March 19th. It is the most massive madness party. You want to be at the South Point if you are in Las Vegas. There is plenty of seating in the exhibit hall. There will be, Chris said 2,000. I don't know if that is just there or spread out through the casino, but it is going to be a ton of fun. We will be there. There you have your screens. So you've got every game going on, and you do have kiosks up there. So food specials, drink specials, free parking, free entry. So if you're in Vegas, come join us. And it is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 19th through the 21st. Okay. Ryan has something to add to that as well.
Yeah, that video that you guys saw was in the Grand Ballroom. So the exhibit hall is about 2-3 times that size of that video. So that will be 2,000 people fitting into the exhibit hall on 20 plus massive screens. It will be a great time. They've got the court on the side to earn some free beer if you make some free throws. The drink prices are great. Get a bucket of beer. Bucket of seltzers if that's what you choose to drink, or you can get cocktails as well. And there's also great food. So if you have the opportunity to get down here to the South Point, you're going to make sure you want to get here early because it will fill up fast. But it is an absolutely great time and a great place to watch these basketball games.
And as Ryan mentioned, because you do have opportunity to win some things with the free throw contest, or I believe it's repping your team's shirt, right? That definitely happened the last couple of years. So if you do have a team that you're rooting for, you might want to wear some attire.
Yes. Yeah, they do have like the kind of sponsor booths, and I believe it was the Bud Light one last year that was giving out some free beer if you had some team gear on of a team that was playing at a specific time. So we'll see what they add to the agenda this year, but it is absolutely a great time, and you're going to want to be there if you can.
looking forward to it, definitely. Let's before we get to hockey, let's talk about our post from yesterday and our post for today. And yesterday's results are pretty funny.
Yeah. So yesterday we gave you the two sides of the World Baseball Classic semifinal game that took place yesterday between Italy and Venezuela, and we wanted to know your thoughts on who you thought would win the game. And it was split 50-50. We thought the value was there with Italy, getting that plus 160 on the money line. They had the lead for a while, but could not hold on.
And then for today's game, Ryan, before we go to hockey, any thoughts on this? I know USA is a pretty big favorite. I don't know if there is necessarily value in betting on this one. I definitely think, it's got everything there as to just be a great game to just actually watch it. But anything for you?
I did see this morning on one of the shows that it was USA was over a $2 favorite. I did not get a chance to actually look what it was here at the South Point. So let me see if I can find that real quick. But for our post today, we did want your guys' thoughts on the conference of the national champion in this year's NCAA tournament. So we gave you the Big Four, the Power Four, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC. So that is linked in the description of today's video. After you make sure you're subscribed again, you can go ahead and vote in that of the Big Four. If you want to leave a comment, if you think the WCC, you're getting 40-1 on that. Big East, 15-1 on that, or the field, all the other conferences are 100-1 there. If you want to leave a comment and you think one of those will do it, or the four that we gave there, you can vote on.
Okay. And then last but not least, do you know the starting pitching matchup going today? I know it is Eduardo Rodriguez.
I believe it is Nolan McLean.
Okay.
For the U.S.
And Nolan McLean for the U.S. So should be a good one. These two did meet in 2023. I believe it was the quarterfinal. Let me double check myself.
Yeah, this is the first time that Venezuela has advanced to the final.
Okay. Yep. So it was in the quarterfinals rematch from then. So looking forward to it.
Here at the South Point, Venezuela money line, you're getting 220 plus 220. USA, you got to lay a 260. Total is 8 with a 125 to the over, a plus 105 to the under, and then the run line laying it with the US minus 1.5, minus 135. Taking the run and a half with Venezuela, you're getting a plus 115 there.
I'm actually kind of surprised that the run line is just 1.5. So we did see some crazy run lines throughout this tournament, but now here we are at the championship. But feels like not a terrible number there, minus 135.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some hockey. If you are here for basketball, because it is March Madness, and it'll be a lot of basketball for the next month. We will get to that on the back end. I do have some plays in the NIT. We'll go through all of those games. 2 of the first 4 in Dayton going on as well. Not necessarily as strong of plays, but we will talk through those in the second half of the show as well. But let's get to the ice. Got a couple here I like as well. I'm sure Ryan's got some plus money plays for us too, and will fill us in on any former matchups between these two teams.
Yep. Well, we'll start up in Toronto, where the Islanders and Maple Leafs meet for the second time this year, second of 3 meetings. But we've got the Islanders as a road favorite here at the South Point of a minus 150, plus 130 on the money line for the Leafs, and a total is of 6 with 110 both ways.
So Toronto is one of the teams that this is their 4th game in 6 nights, 3rd in 4 nights. If you want to add that in, I guess I could make the case here. I have been backing the Islanders, but now I think the market has caught up and maybe gone a little bit too far on both of these teams. I'm not going to get involved, but I will just say I don't have the Islanders minus 150 on the road against Toronto, closer to minus 135 for my number. Juice to the over for the 6, but really no reason for me to jump in this one. Don't feel confident taking plus 130 with the Maple Leafs right now, and I do truly believe the Islanders are the better team. So it's a pass for me, but Ryan, anything for you?
Yeah, the Maple Leafs are in a really weird spot. They lost Austin Matthews for the remainder of this season after taking a knee-to-knee from a guy that did it to Sidney Crosby in the Olympics and only got a 5-game suspension there. So anyway, they won that game against the Ducks 6-4, and then they played the Sabres without Austin Matthews, went to overtime, lost that game 3-2, went to a shootout against the Sabres, lost that one in the shootout. And then they ended up beating the Wild in Minnesota 4-2, covering a reverse puck line. So their 2 wins off of the Olympic break are in their last 3 games. They are 2-6-3 off that Olympic break. The Islanders are 6-3-0 off the Olympic break. 4 such wins in overtime, 4-0 in overtime. And this is also the first of a 3-game Canadian trip. Will it be in Toronto, Ottawa, and back to Montreal here in the next 3 for the Islanders. So I do think this will end up being a close game. Just the fight that the Maple Leafs are kind of showing without their captain. And the Islanders have seemed to make a habit of playing tight games off this Olympic break. So no confident play, but it is pretty interesting that you have that big of a difference, or at least somewhat of a difference here with the pricing.
Well, now that you just said that, and I had a note to myself to take off a little bit for Austin Matthews, but I did not factor that into Toronto's power rating. So that is exactly what that difference is.
Okay.
Yeah. At least 15 cents, I would say. But you're right. It has been interesting, but we know that, after the start goes down, you will see a bump the first game or 2. So maybe it starts to fade off here. I did see Jimmy Football in our chat say fade the Leafs the rest of the way. We'll see how tonight goes, but it might not be a bad approach. And then the Islanders, Sorokin has been one of the top goalies, especially this year. So if you're betting on them, it would be definitely betting on him and the team overall, but more of them to slow down this scoring that we've seen lately.
All right, going to Columbus, where the Hurricanes are on the road against the Blue Jackets. Second of 4 meetings this year between these two. But Hurricanes minus 125 on their money line, plus 105 for the Blue Jackets. Total is 6.5 with a 115 to the under.
Looks like the market's kind of fading Carolina here. Open minus 135 down to minus 125, which feels like a really good price on the Hurricanes. I've made it minus 145 for the road team, right there at 6.5 as well. I don't know, Ryan. What notes do you have on this matchup before I dive in here with the Canes?
First of a back-to-back for the Carolina Hurricanes. They're the only team playing today on the first of a back-to-back. They are 7-1-3 in the first of a back-to-back. They are 10-1 to the over in the first of a back-to-back. Wow. They will go back home to face the Penguins tomorrow, which will be the last of a Penguins road trip for that team tomorrow. But 5-1 in the second of a back-to-back are the Hurricanes. Total 4-7. So more tight games, have a little bit of that rust, or not much rest in that second game, and tend to go under there. But 10-1 to the over in the first, 7-1-3,
wow.
7-4 on the money line in the first of a back-to-back.
Interesting, and the market's actually going the other way. What Columbus 5-1-4 in their last 10? Do you know that record since coming back off the break?
I did not take a chance to look.
Okay, that's okay. But last 10, pretty much 500 there for them. So not really sure. Maybe people just fading that it is the first of a back-to-back. But I like those numbers. I like that trend. I'm highly considering taking Carolina here.
There are a couple spots if you want to take the total, get to that 7 goals. You can get even money taking the over 6.5. It is the minus 105 here at the South Point, but it does seem to be moving more to the under and more to Columbus side. So, it might be a wait and see. It may be a better price here on the Hurricanes coming and a better price on the over, but that's where we'll be looking.
Agreed.
All right, going to Montreal, where the Bruins are on the road. Second of a back-to-back for the Bruins. They are getting plus 135 on their money line, minus 155 for the Habs. Total is 6.5 with a 120 to the under.
Do you have the second of a back-to-back for the Bruins?
So first of a back-to-back last night, they lost in overtime, so that makes them 3-3-3 on the second of a back-to-back, 6-3 to the over. Second of a back-to-back, which is tonight, they are 5-2-1, 5-3 on the money line. Totals are split though, 4-4. So much better hockey of a back-to-back. They seem to shake off the rust and not need the rest. But did also mention yesterday that they have not won or lost consecutive games coming off of the Olympic break. They won against the Capitals. They lost last night against the Devils. This would mean a win here if you're going to keep going with that, but that is a pretty just a weird coincidence to keep track of.
Well, I like it anyways. I liked it for the number. I like the fact that I stayed off of them yesterday, and you did get the win on the other side with the Devils. And then, I don't know if I thought it was going to be Jeremy Swayman, but it was not Jeremy Swayman. It was Korpisalo going yesterday. That means it is Swayman in net today. So I know you like the Canadians a lot. I've got a minus 140 at home. It is a big enough difference. I would have liked to get plus 140. The market's going that way, plus 135 here at the South Point. But I am definitely going to take a shot here on the Boston Bruins, and I like your numbers. Now, I will just add, it is their fourth in 6 nights, third in 4. So that might not be factored in to all of those former second of a back-to-back. But I'm going to take a shot here with Boston.
Fourth and final meeting of the year between these two. Boston leads 2-1. Boston won in Montreal back in the middle of November, 3-2 in that one. Montreal won 6-2 in Boston just before Christmas. And Boston won 4-3 in Boston just before the end of January. So Boston's wins have been by 1 goal. Montreal won by 4 in Boston the time that they won. Montreal 4-3-2 off the Olympic break. They are coming off their first time losing back-to-back games, or both of a back-to-back this season, both of which were also at home over the weekend. So disappointed some home fans coming in for some weekend games. I would like to think that they're going to respond pretty well. But yeah, I do think this will end up being a pretty good game to watch.
The one thing that you do always have to check, note to self, Boston has gotten a little bit better, but they are 31st in penalty minutes. So that has been what I know they were dead last for a while.
Yep.
And I think it was the outdoor game where they were really talking about it and trying to focus on that. But now 31st. So looking at Montreal, they are 7th on the power play. So it's a little concerning, but all right. I'll be playing the Bruins here.
All right, going to the first of a home and home for these teams. They will play each other in their next game as well. This is the Minnesota Wild on the road in Chicago against the Blackhawks. Minnesota, a minus 170 home or road favorite, plus 150 on the Blackhawks money line. Total is 6 with a 115 to the under.
Former games between these two, how many have they played?
They've played. This is the 3rd of 4.
Okay.
They will play their 4th of 4 on Thursday.
I like under 6 here. I know it's minus 115, but I think that's a good price. I've actually got this game 5.5 over minus 115, so I like the difference in this. And 2 of my favorite goalies to back with Gustafsson and Spencer Knight going. So I'm going to take a shot with another under, even though yesterday we had a lot of overs, 4-1 on the night. But I like under 6. Minnesota, I've got them slightly higher, 10 cents higher, minus 180 on the road. So nothing for me sidewise. Ryan, what are you doing?
So Minnesota has won both of the priors by the exact same score, both games going into overtime or a shootout. Minnesota won 4-3 with the final in both of the priors. 4-4-2 are the Wild off of the Olympic break. They have lost 3 straight games, including that matchup that I mentioned earlier with Maple Leafs, pulling off that upset in Minnesota. So Minnesota needing to get things right, especially at sometime soon as we get closer. Less than 20 games remaining until postseason time. But Chicago, 3-4-2 off the Olympic break. I did show up to that game on Saturday night where they were here in Vegas and went down 3-0 in a 5-minute span during the first period, and then allowed a 4th goal in the middle of the second period. And then no more goals were allowed for the rest of the game. It was a 4-0 shutout win for the Vegas Golden Knights. The Hawks did take a timeout after allowing those 3 goals in 5 minutes. They really did not look good. They looked lost on defense and really left Spencer Knight out to dry and did not have much offensively. So it would be a look to the Wild here being able to get things done. However, I mentioned the shutout. The Blackhawks have been shut out 4 times this year now, or 5 times this year now. They are 0-3-1 coming off of a shutout. have not been able to win, bounce back, and their one overtime loss was their first meeting of the year between these two teams. They got shut out against the Avalanche 1-0, and then played the Wild the next night. That one went to overtime. Wild won 4-3. So these have been tight matchups this year. I would like to think that the Hawks will bounce back and Minnesota will bounce back. So I'd like to think this will end up being a tight game, a competitive game, both teams fighting pretty hard. Don't know if I'll end up playing it to go to overtime for the third time this year, even though I've made it a habit of doing that. I do think that the Wild will get things done here. Probably
looking for at least 3-1, right?
Yeah.
If you can get 3-1, maybe taking a shot there with the overtime. I think there might be a couple of these games that we're looking at for overtime tonight.
Mm-hmm. This next one might be not this next one, in a couple meetings. Anyway, Predators on the road in Winnipeg against the Jets. This is the third and final meeting of the year between these two, and the Jets are a -130 home favorite, +110 for the Predators. Total is a 5.5 with a 125 to the over.
This could be an overtime one because I do think it basically is a coin flip. I give the Jets the slight advantage, winning 2 in a row, so they have definitely not quit on the season. The Predators come into this one losers of 2 straight, and I like the way Hellebuck has played. I mean, ever since the Olympics, right? Even though we know he is one of the best in the league, but really, just outstanding from him. So I made him 140. I'm not going to get involved in this one. And total, I'm 6 under, -125, so right there. So nothing for me in this one. If you made me play it, I'd be on the home team, though.
I will be on the home team. It is the third and final meeting of the year between these two. The Jets have covered the puck line in both of the priors, including one in Nashville. They won 4-1 in Winnipeg in the middle of October and 5-2 in Nashville at the end of November. I get those are a long time ago, and these teams are a little bit different since then. But off the Olympic break, Nashville 3-4-2, 3-6 on the money line. This is the last of a 5-game road trip for them, where they are 1-2-1 on that road trip. Winnipeg 6-2-2 on the money line, or 6-4 on the money line off the Olympic break. It is the last of an 8-game homestand for the Jets, where 6 of the 7 have gone under there for the Jets. So trust in Hellebuck, priced at 5.5. I would like to think the Jets are going to be able to score in this game. I'll lay the puck and a half, getting that +190 there.
I like it. I think that is the correct move, being on that team.
Going to Edmonton, where the Sharks and Oilers are in their third of 4 meetings this year. Sharks +150 on their money line. Edmonton -170 on theirs. Total is a 6.5 with a -145 to the over.
Now, in the market, there are some seven unders.
Yep.
So you could go over 7 at even money. I did make this 7 over. That is a 20-cent difference. That's the only way I could play this game, Ryan, between the Sharks and the Oilers. I'm a little tempted. I mean, even looking at both of their median numbers equals 7. 3 goals for, 4 goals against for both of these two teams. So what do you think?
So the home team has won both of the priors this year, as is the third of 4, by exactly 1 goal. Edmonton won the first 4-3 in overtime. That was at the end of January. And San Jose won the second one 5-4. That was at the end of last month. So this one should be a pretty hard-fought game. These two are becoming rivals. And it's a lot of fun to watch the star players on these two teams, Connor McDavid and Macklin Celebrini. Leon Draisaitl, if you want to add him in too. They're all good. I tend to think this one will end up being a tight game and going into overtime. Both of the priors have gone over that 6.5, getting at least 7 goals. So if you want to take the over 7, chance to push there, getting the plus price at some other spots in town. There's also a +110 at a different spot in town. We've got a ton of potential for goals. Goalies aren't that great.
Yep.
We'll should get there for the over.
It's going to be one of those too where you're nervous about 7 and then there's 6 in the first period.
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl, you just reminded me, he will not suit up for this one against the Sharks. So I wonder if that's even a lean to the plus price. Maybe the trend ends here. You said the home team won?
Yeah.
The first 2?
Yep.
All right. lean to the Sharks. I like the over 7 if you're getting even money.
All right. Sabres on the road in Vegas against the Knights. Second of 2 meetings this year between these two. First was exactly 2 weeks ago. That was Jack Eichel's welcome back with Team USA. Noah Hannafin also getting the honoring in Buffalo with Tage Thompson. Buffalo, a plus 115 on their money line, minus 135 for the Knights here in Vegas. 6.5 is the total, 110 both ways.
What was that final score in that first game back from
3-2.
Or first home game back?
3-2.
3-2 Buffalo.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Knights have looked a lot better since getting Mark Stone back. I don't have a difference. I actually have the Knights a little bit less here, minus 125 at home, and that's because I've been slowly bumping up Buffalo and this run they've been on. But is this one, Ryan, that it might be worth it to take a little bit of the overtime?
I definitely think so. The way that, I get the Knights kind of beat up on a sorry Blackhawks team a little bit. But you mentioned getting Mark Stone back, getting a little bit of confidence back. They know they're going to have to get up against this Sabres team, which I believe the Knights have now only won 1 game against a former. No, they beat Detroit. So beat Detroit, beat Pittsburgh. So they've won 2 games against playoff teams since November. Buffalo has looked hot. They've won 9 of 10 off the Olympic break. I'll more than likely end up playing the Sabres plus the 115, thinking that they get it done on the road. It's the first of a 4-game road trip for the Sabres. They'll be going to California after this. So, yeah, we could end up seeing overtime, but I think I'm more comfortable with the Sabres plus that 115.
I will say, and I know it's tough to use home revenge and all of that in sports like this that are such long seasons. This feels like a pretty good spot. Where it was their first home game back from the Olympics. You're right, Eichel, Hannafin getting recognized, and then the Sabres come into their building and beat them. Might be.
Well, Sabres were in their own building.
Oh, they brought him around the ice.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that doesn't count then. Who was the first team that the Knights hosted?
I believe it was Minnesota.
And they brought, yes. Okay. Okay. So never mind. Scratch that. Sabres, if you want to take the Sabres, my number does match that as well.
Okay.
But I'm not going to play anything in this one.
Going up to the Northwest over the border in Vancouver, where the Canucks are hosting the Panthers. This is also the second and final meeting between these two. Panthers won the first one 8-5 final back in the middle of November. Both teams, well, Florida is technically 500. They're 33-30-3. Vancouver a lot farther from 500 on the negative side. Panthers, minus 150 on the money line, plus 130 for the Canucks. 6 is the total with 110 both ways.
I actually made this game 6.5 over minus 115. So I do like going over 6 between these two. I just wanted to check as of late, because I know Florida gave up 6 goals to Seattle, and then before that played a tight game against Columbus. 7 goals in the one before that against Detroit, 6 against Columbus. Yeah, just the way Vancouver has been playing, and Lankinen, his numbers are 3.31 goals against, 8.77 save percentage. I think we're going to get goals here in this one. So I'm going to go over 6. My side, I do have Florida a little bit higher, minus 174 on the road.
I also think we're getting goals, and I think the Panthers are going to be able to beat up on this team that is not very good in the Vancouver Canucks. Panthers 4-5 off the Olympic break. This is the second of a 4-game road trip. They will remain in Canada, remain in the Northwest for the remainder of this road trip, as they've got Vancouver tonight, Edmonton, and then Calgary on deck. So Canucks 2-5-2 off the Olympic break. 4th of an 8-game homestand. Each of the regulation losses has been by the puck line. So they either force overtime, lose by 1 or 2 losses, or they win outright with the 2 wins. But their 5 regulation losses have all been by the puck line.
Yep.
And I think the Panthers are going to be able to get it done here tonight.
Solid point there. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and Utah 6-2, VGK. Yes, Vegas 5-2. 5-1 Seattle. A lot of puck lines there. A couple overtime though, right? You said in regulation it is puck line. Yep.
Yeah, 2 losses in overtime. So,
Yep. All right. You going over and puck line or just?
I'll be going the puck line.
You want that plus
Yeah,
170?
that plus 170.
Cannot fault you there. All right. Last but not least.
All right, the Lightning on the road in Seattle against the Kraken. First of 2 meetings. They'll face off again in 9 days down in Tampa. But this one, the Lightning minus 190 on their money line, plus 170 for the Kraken. 6 is the total with the 120 to the over.
I understand the 190, but Tampa really hasn't been that team. I've got it minus 170 for the Lightning on the road here, getting plus 170 back with Seattle. Kind of on my no bet list, though, the Kraken. So I'm probably just going to pass on this one. I did make it a little bit higher, but since the over 6 is juiced, pretty much the same. 6.5 under for me, under minus 120. So I'm going to pass, Ryan. Anything jump out to you?
So the Lightning are at the start of their road trip that the Florida Panthers are exactly on. So the Panthers started it in Seattle, now in Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary. The Lightning starting in Seattle, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, before the Lightning are back home for a 7-game homestand from the middle or end of March to towards the end of the first week of April. But yeah, you mentioned the Kraken are on the no bet list. They are on my no bet list. I get that the Lightning have struggled a little bit coming off this Olympic break, but yeah, I can see the Kraken pulling off the upset and getting the win here, but I can also see them losing by 4.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am.
Yeah.
And this could, I mean, they, like you said, the start of this road trip here, I want to get this first one. And they do have a couple good convincing wins against the Red Wings and Toronto. And that's about it on this break. But this could be another. So. Yeah.
Your point there is right. They've beaten Toronto twice by the puck line and then beat Detroit, and then they've lost to everyone else. This would be talking about the Lightning. So need to get things back right. Again, soon we're less than 20 days from the end of the regular season, or 20 games till the end of the regular season. So Tampa definitely looking to get things right, and Seattle looking to prove us wrong again.
Well, let's take a quick break. Let's go to some basketball. We'll get our whiteboards ready for hockey. Let us know in the chat. I see a couple people jumping in with what they do like today. Sabres keep the good times rolling, Sharks. So let us know if there is anything. And then let us know for basketball as well. When we get back, let's go over the 2 first 4 in Dayton games for the NCAA tournament. And we'll go over some NIT games here on Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Get ready for the most massive madness party in Las Vegas. Join us March 19th through the 21st right here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. It's 3 straight days of massive video screens, massive food and drink specials, massive access to betting windows and kiosks, The only thing that's not massive is the price. Free parking and entry as always. Tip-off to the madness starts right here at South Point Hotel and Casino, March 19th through the 21st.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Sports by the Book. A ton to get to still, a lot on the hardwood here. But before we go game by game, Ryan just informed me that new prop bets are out here at the South Point. So I would like to go through those. Here's some odds for the seed to win and the region. So looking forward to this, Ryan. And you got those last night?
Yes. So not only featured in our poll today is the conference to win the national championship, which we've had up here at the South Point for a couple months now. But Chris Andrews and company did put up the seed to be the national champion. You're getting seed 1 by itself, seed 2 by itself, seed 3, seed 4, seed 5, and then seeds 6 through 16 all grouped together. So seed 1 is your favorite, minus 250 there. Plus 475 on the 2 seeds, 12-1 on the 3 seeds, 20-1 on the 4 and the 5 seeds, and then 30-1 on seeds 6 through 16. We also have up the region to be your national champion. Which region will your national champion be from? So East region is your favorite. That's featuring the name brand teams. Plus 240 on that price, with Duke leading the way there. Midwest region getting a plus 260, West region getting a plus 275, and so is the South.
Very good. Okay, did anything jump out to you? And as Ryan mentioned, so Duke in the East, Midwest is Michigan. 2 seed in there is Iowa State. And then the West, you're getting Arizona, 2 seed Purdue. Couple others in there. And then for the South, Florida.
And Houston.
That's pretty good. And Illinois, right?
Mm-hmm.
275. I just want to go back to the seeds there because minus 250 feels like a pretty good price for all 4 of those 1 seeds.
Yeah. We had our trivia question yesterday talking about how many times have been all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four, and last year was the 2nd time in men's tournament history that it happened. I would not be shocked if we got a 3rd time this year, just by how much of a ceiling there is with those top 4 teams.
And I mean, even if you get 2 of the 4,
yep,
in the Final Four, right, then you're feeling pretty good. Would want 1 on each side of the bracket, but yeah, minus 250 if you are interested. I mean, March Madness is supposed to be all about taking long shots and getting good plus prices. So, but I'm sure there are some sharps and professionals out there that would be looking at that minus 250.
So looking at the national champion prices for each team individually, if you want to take the 1 seeds, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida, Duke, you're getting a plus 280, Michigan plus 350, Arizona 4-1, Florida 5-1. So if you want to pick the right champion, you're going to be better off playing them as a whole, getting all 4 teams as one minus that 280. But again, if you want to root for a specific team, there are those prices. But the 2 seeds grouped together: Houston, Iowa State, UConn, and Purdue. Houston 12-1, Iowa State 16-1, Purdue 25, and UConn is skipped over at 20-1. I do think it would end up being better to play each of them individually than take the 2 seeds as a group, and kind of the same argument for the remainder of the seeds. So really the best strategy if you're going with the 1 seeds is to play that minus the 280. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. We have different odds, kind of updated odds for the conference as well, right?
Yes.
Some movement there.
Yep. So the conference to win the national championship, your best prices that you're getting the entire time this has been available on the Big 10 and the Big 12. Big 12 opened your favorite at plus 140. They are still your favorite, but you're getting plus 180 price, which is the best price that's been available here at the South Point this entire time it's been up. Same thing with the Big 10. Opened at plus 170, now at plus $2. The ACC and the SEC are your big movers. SEC with the most teams in the field with 10 goes from 7-1 when the opening price to now a plus 375. ACC a 4-1 on that opening price, now a plus 220. But the Big East 15-1, WCC 40-1, and then the field 100-1. The Big East, again, the kind of same argument. If you want to play them individually, UConn, St. John's, and Villanova individually. If you're making one unit plays on those, you're still going to end up better than that 15-1 if UConn wins at that 20. And then the WCC, same thing with Gonzaga, St. John's, or St. Mary's and Santa Clara. Gonzaga, you're getting a 50-1 price to win the national title, and it's 40-1 for those three teams in the WCC together.
And with that Big East, just make sure you really take a look at the bracket because two of them, St. John's and UConn, are in the same region. Villanova is in the West, and the other two are in the East. But to Ryan's point, and kind of looking it over yesterday, might be better off taking a little piece of all three of them, if not maybe one or two of them.
Yep.
Okay, really quick, just to add to this too, going through the numbers, the SEC did get 10 teams in, Big 10 got 9, Big 12 got 8 teams in. I wonder if that is part of the reason why their number kind of moved up. Not to mention Arizona got a tough break with Purdue in their region, who was the number 1 overall AP going into the year. ACC got 7 teams in, Big East 3, WCC 3, with Santa Clara joining the other two, St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Mountain West just 1, and then the A10 2. So SEC found a way, Ryan. Most teams in once again.
Did they find a way or were they gifted away? We can agree to disagree sometimes.
Yeah, honestly, and Auburn was kept out. I kind of thought Oklahoma would be the one to get in there, so I don't know which one was the last.
Yes,
I guess A&M was.
Sean was making the point that there were Oklahoma against Georgia, Oklahoma against Texas.
Yeah.
Those games really came down to the wire, and Georgia and Texas being the victor in those games, those close games, ultimately looks like it's what ended up keeping Oklahoma out of the tournament. It's my I get the Power Fours and the standard that we want to hold them to, but I really think if we're trying to level the playing field and make sure everybody gets a payout, there's no reason the SEC needs 10 teams. They're not that good. They're not as good as they were last year, getting 14 teams in. These teams are getting paid to participate in the playoffs. I believe that the Power Four should be limited to 8 teams per conference. Your best 8 get sent, and then the rest of the playing field can get leveled out. I've got to put the whole idea together to maybe convince some of you guys on that. But I think it's too many teams here for the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, and there's something else floating around there about the Mountain West and how their net rating is actually one of the highest in quite some time to only get one auto bid. So, I mean, even if they went down to 9 with the Big 10 or both of those two went down to 8 and you had another Mountain West team in, maybe another Big East, because I think Seton Hall could have been in there as well. So just a little bit more spread out, a little more variety. And I think it would help them a lot of people talk about the Mountain West being bad in this tournament, and then you're not seeing one of your conference opponents and taking a chance of being upset where your better teams could make it farther.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go to our action tonight on the hardwood. Let's start it off with Howard and UMBC here. I don't really have an official play, but I have a lean. What are we looking at number-wise, Ryan, and have we been moving a lot from the opener?
So on this one, we've been moving a ton. Opened with UMBC as a 1-point favorite, got as high as UMBC a 2.5-point favorite, and we've now favorite flipped to got as high as Howard -1.5. It is now sitting at Howard -1. Total has bounced from 141, the opener, getting as low as 139.5, getting as high as 142.5. We are at the highest. We're at the peak. Here, we'll see if it keeps climbing, but 143.5 now in this one.
I mean, if you have a strong conviction on this one, sidewise, more power to you, but I really do not for this matchup. I do think it is a coin flip, and that is why it is kind of moving all over the place. I do think we could have a slow start here, and the market disagrees because it is up to 143.5, and I'm leaning to the under here. I guess I'll just see how high it goes, potentially go with the first half under. But, I mean, these two teams are very similar. Points for average on the year. Howard, 74.7 points against, 67. And then UMBC, 74.9 and 67.8. So very close there with points for and their averages. And slower pace for both of these teams. Howard is quicker. I gotta give them that, but they are much better on the defensive end than they are offensively because they are 238th offense efficiency. So under, if anything, or under first half for me in that one.
Well, you mentioned the starts of these games. We do have the first to 15 odds in both of these first four games taking place today. So Howard and UMBC, you're laying a -110 either way, moved now to a -115 in both games. It 110 on the sheets, and we've now got movement on these first to 15s. So Howard -115 to be the first team to score 15 or to get to that 15 points in this game. UMBC at a -105, and then the same price for the later game today, which is also conveniently enough the same price on the spread. So NC State a -1 point favorite in that one, and a -115 to the first to 15 in the late game today. But total in that one, 157.5.
All right, just for my own purposes, I'm taking UMBC here to get to 15 first. I think the movement on Howard, I guess, is because they are the better defense, but efficiency-wise and shooting-wise, I mean, from 2-point and 3-point, UMBC is far better. 36% from 3 and 54 from 2%. And then I told you Howard much better on the defensive side. They're 262nd in the country, best 2-point percentage. So I'll take a shot with UMBC. And I'm just kind of mentally doing this to practice for the big dance come Thursday and what we're taking. And I want to see if the market's just going with Howard because they are more of the underdog. But let's take a look at the next matchup too. Anything on the app? And as you had mentioned, pretty much the same there for the side and our first to 15 with NC State and Texas.
So on the side for the full game, open pick jumped to State -1.5, has now gotten a little bit of action back on Texas back to the 1. Total open 160.5, and it's been steady down 159.5, 159, 158.5, 58. Back up to 58.5, but that jumped to 157.5 where we sit now. And then, those first team 15 numbers also open pick, and looks like we've gotten the action on State.
Do you have any feel for this one, Ryan?
It's going to be a second on the SEC being overrated here. I get that there are a bunch of experts saying that Texas will not only win this game, but win their next one and possibly the next one. So beat BYU and then maybe beat Gonzaga in the one after that. But I think State will be able to handle their business here. Will Wade leading that team. They have also got a couple former Tar Heels, so selfish interests, even though they're a little bit of a traitor. Anyway, that's off topic. But yeah, it would be to State in the ACC getting it done here, advancing another round.
Well, yeah, you got to root for the conference too. I'm not going to bet the side. NC State is just such high variance because they rely a lot on the 3. So could they get hot and win this comfortably? Absolutely. But you just never know. But I will tell you, I do like either one of these teams to upset BYU in the next one. And if NC State does get hot, I do think that they could make a run to the Sweet 16.
Are they still on your list?
Yeah.
Okay.
The no bet?
Yep.
They're supposed to be. That's why I'm just staying off as well. But Kenny White, my dad and professional sports bettor, he likes the over at 158.5. His total is 174. So Big difference. Again, relying on these teams to get hot, though. So maybe wait it out in game. And if it's a slow start and you can get over 150, about a 7-point difference there from the closing line, jump in on that over.
All right, before we get to these NIT games, we did have Daryl in the chat let us know that he likes the under in that UMBC game and the over as well in this Texas-NC State game. And then Dean letting us know and kind of reminded me that UMBC did have some troubles getting to Dayton with the weather up there this morning. They got in, their plane was delayed for several hours with a snowstorm there. So I guess they got to the gym very early this morning at the earliest that they could. So that might be why we've seen it favorite flip to Howard minus the 1.
Okay, that does make sense. Should always be paying attention to the travel, and there is a lot of snow up east. So, all right, let's get to a couple of these NIT, and we got to get to the last one. So.
Yes, as our guy Matt Neverett is in Irvine for that Rebels versus Anteaters game, the final one of the night at 8 p.m. But starting with the one at 3 p.m., this would be Liberty on the road at George Mason. All the home teams are playing in their home sites here in the NIT. So Liberty on the road at George Mason. George Mason a 3.5-point home favorite. 141.5 is the total.
141.5.
Yes.
Yes, it was 145 yesterday. So it is going down, but I definitely agree with that move. 141.5. First half under 67. That's the way I'm going to play it. I've got 2 of them with the first half unders. Liberty 339th in pace of play. And then you've got George Mason that's 350th. Another thing that I think could contribute here is Liberty is a terrible offensive rebounding team, so it won't be a lot of second chances for them. And then looking at George Mason on the year, holding teams to an average of 67 points. So I like under. 2 teams that are okay and want to play slow and methodical, and there's going to be a feeling out process. So that's why I'm going first half. Don't hate full game either, but would have liked it a lot better at 145.
All right, going to Yale, where UNC Wilmington is on the road, catching 4.5 is the price here at the South Point. There are 5s available in the market, but 4.5. Yale favorite here at the South Point. 146.5 is the total.
So Yale scares me a little bit. This is my second one that I am going to go under as well. They are much better offensively than they are defensively. Averaged 80 points a game, gave up only 72, but they do play at a slow pace, 328th, and UNC Wilmington on the other side, 303rd pace of play. So I'm going to take a shot with these 2 as well. I just think that number's too high. This one did not drop nearly as much. It was 147.5 yesterday. So if you want to go with the steam, it's Liberty and George Mason, but I do think this one's still a little too high. I went under 69 for the first half.
All right, going to Wyoming and Wichita State. Wichita State 5.5, total 147.
I almost added this one in there as well. I saw 148.5 yesterday. Was going to look at the first half. I'm just going to watch this game, though, because both of these teams look like different teams the second half of the season, playing much, much better, including Wyoming with a few good upsets against some good Mountain West teams. But both of them slower paced out of the top 250. So I would think it would be a slow kind of feel it out. And, 2 of the more physical teams in the NIT. But I'm not going to get involved in that one.
All right. Going to Oklahoma State, where Davidson is on the road, catching 6.5, total 153.5.
Jeez. Okay. No play for me. It was 8.5 yesterday with Davidson. So I was looking at taking the points here. This one's tough. Complete different styles. The Cowboys want to run and gun, and Davidson plays very, very slow. They're pretty good defensively, though. 89th defense efficiency on Ken Palm, but like I said, Oklahoma State 9th quickest in the country. And then I was really looking at some of their non-conference opponents, and Oklahoma State was really good, not necessarily in the quad 1 category, but the quad 2, 7-2 straight up, won by an average of 9 points, and that median number was 9. So waited too long. Was going to see if I was going to take that 8.5. Since that number is gone, I am going to pass completely.
Okay. We've got Attila curious about the total in this one. Stephen F. Austin on the road at Tulsa. Tulsa, a 7-point home favorite, total 150.5.
So, trusting my dad's totals, 164.5 is his. So he actually likes the over in this one. 150. Are we going down?
We are going down.
Wow. So the markets and the bettors are going the other way though on that. So that makes me a little bit nervous. I took a shot with the favorite here. I actually played Tulsa -4 in the first half, which if that number's going down too, we might get an even better first half. I'd love to get -3.5. I just think it's a big difference, and I think Tulsa can take advantage and kind of overpower this SFA team. But strength of schedule, Tulsa really just had a couple problems with some of their conference opponents, and they lost a couple down the stretch against South Florida and Wichita State. But they're a much better team. Lost to Kansas State by 1. So I'm going favorite. Kenny White's number says over. He made Tulsa 8 the same here as well.
All right, going to Auburn, the favorite here to win the NIT. They are an 18-point favorite at home against South Alabama, total 153.
Should we fade the SEC, Ryan? Take the 18?
I'm tempted to take the 12-1. There's a 14-1 on the money line for South Alabama. This is 2 Alabama teams.
Yep.
South Alabama wanting to prove it. It would be hilarious. Just a fun 14-1, 12-1 here at the South Point on the money line for South Alabama. I'm not advising it, but it would be extremely, extremely funny.
I mean, with everything that happened with Auburn and them kind of putting a target on their back, it would be extremely funny. And I mean, this is one of those games that Chris Andrews loves when it comes to football. Like you said, in the same state, them kind of punching up, and a lot of the guys on their team, maybe didn't have the opportunity to play at Auburn.
Yep.
Or Bama. So I don't hate it. I don't have a play on that one. That was my one skip with, a double-digit 18-point spread there.
Okay. Going to Seattle, where St. Thomas, Minnesota is on the road against Seattle. Seattle is now a 1.5-point home favorite, total 145.5.
Good. Okay, I'm going to wait. I really wanted to get a plus price with a little money line here for the last 2 dogs, and the Tommies are definitely one that I wanted. It was -105 here not too long ago before the show started. But I like the balance of St. Thomas here. Seattle, very good defensive team, but they're 298th in offense efficiency. Lost to Washington State, Pacific twice. I think St. Thomas can hang around in this one and win it. The spread's telling you that they aren't too far apart. They are 95th offense efficiency, 146 defense. So, like I said, just a lot more balanced than being the 21st best defense and the almost 300th offense. So I'll take the balance here. And the Tommies getting plus 105.
All right. Going to the final tip-off of the night at UC Irvine, hosting the UNLV Rebels. Irvine, -1.5, total 153. The highest in the market is here at the South Point.
Just going to take a shot here with UNLV. I actually made them a 2-point favorite, so a little bit of a difference there. Now, UC Irvine is very good, and they are a very good defensive team. They also kind of make teams uncomfortable playing in that slow style. And I was comparing to some Mountain West teams, and UNLV definitely struggled against SDSU. Split with Grand Canyon, but they did get 1 win. I like the Rebels in an underdog spot, and they definitely have a couple guys that could take over the game, including why am I skipping? Dre Gibbs Longhorn, DGL. So I like the Rebels. I'm gonna take both of those 2 dogs, and hopefully I'm getting one of them. Hopefully I'm getting both of them.
Yep.
Fall back, getting one of them. But that is it for me. Ryan, you want to go over ticker trivia and the poll question and all of that good stuff, and I'll finish and add my basketball to the whiteboard.
That I can do. We'll go over ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine, available at Lee's Discount Liquor, Total Wine, and here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Talking about the women's NCAA tournament today. In the history of that tournament, women's NCAA tournament, how many times have all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four? Your answer would be, and we did get a correct answer in the chat from our guy Jimmy Football, since the inception of the women's NCAA tournament in 1982, all 4 number 1 seeds have reached the national semifinals and Final Four 4 times in 1989, 2012, 2015, and 2018. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish have appeared in 3 of those 4 Final Fours, winning it all in that 2018 tournament. So, good job, Jimmy Football, spotting our ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine. Answer today, 4 times have all 4 number 1 seeds reached the Final Four in the women's NCAA tournament. And then talking about our poll today, we gave you the WBC again, which side you think wins tonight and becomes champion of the World Baseball Classic and gets bragging rights over the rest of the countries in the world in baseball. With a little luck tonight, which team will win gold in tonight's World Baseball Classic final? United States, Venezuela, and rightfully so, 83% of the chat also going with the percentages why the U.S. is a minus 220 moneyline favorite there. 83% of the chat going with the U.S. to be WBC champions.
Very good. Hopefully they can get it done. After they had to survive the scare of not making it to or past the pool, so should be a lot of fun. Okay, anything else before we go to whiteboard plays, or you want to start us off?
I can start us off. For standard plays, I will mention the overtime prices, but not going to include those on the board today. 1 favorite and 3 plus prices. Well, I guess 3 favorites, as 2 of them are puck lines. But Carolina Hurricanes minus the 125 on the road in Columbus, getting it done on the money line, improving to 8-1-3 in the first of a back-to-back. Also like the total in that game, as they are 10-1 to the over in the first of a back-to-back are the Hurricanes. Winnipeg winning by at least 2 against Nashville, covering the puck line for the 3rd time this year against the Predators in all 3 meetings this year, getting a plus 190 there. Sabres, money line, plus 115 here in Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. Just not exactly trusting what the Knights are doing right now. Then fading the Canucks. Don't think they'll keep it close against the Panthers, who are also still fighting to get into playoff position. But Panthers win by 2, plus 170 in Vancouver against the Canucks. The 2 overtimes that we were keeping track of, Minnesota, Chicago, as they've gone to overtime twice this year already. That is a plus 305 price here in town. And then the Sharks and Oilers, a plus 345 for that one to go to overtime.
Okay. I hope that is a 4-4 going to overtime, because I do not want to push, because I am going to take that 7 here. Yep. Also, I do like your Florida more than I even like that over, so I kept that off my board too, but it was a lean to go in with Florida and Vancouver over 6. But I've had 4 hockey. I have 5 college basketball. So we'll see how we do here. But Canes, I'm with Ryan. I just think they're the better team against Columbus. I think that's a very good price. Is it 135 or 125?
125.
Okay. Looking at the wrong book. So it's a really good price here at the South Point. Bruins plus 135, second of a back-to-back. They've been very good in this spot. We do have Jeremy Swayman going. Wild and Hawks, I'm going under 6. Trust both goalies. I think we're going to get a defensive battle between those two. Sharks and Oilers over 7, getting even money there. We want lots of goals in Edmonton. Faster ice. Let's go the hardwood here. Liberty and George Mason. These are all NIT games. First half under 67. UNC Wilmington and Yale. First half under 69. St. Thomas plus 105. UNLV plus 110. And then the one favorite I really like, Tulsa against SFA, laying the 4 in the first half. So good luck, everybody. Hopefully we did a good job explaining why we like these plays, and you can tail the ones you like from the both of us here, and you can make some money on this St. Patrick's Day. Anything else, Ryan? Any announcements for the rest of the week?
We didn't mention some NFL news this morning. Jalen Waddle traded from the Miami Dolphins to the Denver Broncos. Broncos get Jalen Waddle and a 4th-round pick. They're the Dolphins' 4th-round pick in this year's draft, and they swap this year's draft picks to the Dolphins. 1st-round pick, 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick. I was baffled this morning when I saw that Jalen Waddle fetched a 1st-round pick, but I do get what the Broncos are trying to do and buying now and making sure they get the rookie contracts. But Jalen Waddle's been, I get he's had some quarterback issues the last couple of seasons, but the last 2 have been down years for him. The 6th overall pick when he was drafted, so it does make a little bit of sense him fetching the 30th overall pick back, plus some extras. But I was pretty shocked that's what the deal was this morning.
That is what the Broncos needed, though.
Yep.
They definitely needed a wide receiver 1 there. So now that division just gets even better.
Yep.
Which is looking to be very competitive once again. The quarterback news, Justin Fields, Patrick Mahomes backup, going to KC.
Yep.
And then we never talked about Kyler Murray.
Yeah, going to the Vikings.
Who is going to the Minnesota Vikings. So, well, yeah, we could do a catch-up every day with the NFL.
The thing about
with some of the big stories.
Justin Fields news with the Chiefs, Justin Fields should start the first few games of the year for the Chiefs, as Patrick Mahomes is still recovering from his knee injury suffered in December last year. So keep that in mind when you're looking at win totals and things like that, and that getting into camp, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to prove that he's healthy before the Chiefs kind of throw him out there. They're more than happy waiting 4+ weeks to make sure that he's fully ready to go and not just sacrificing their several $100 million man there. Justin Fields is going to be capable, and you add Eric Bieniemy into that offense. That run game is going to be A-okay for the first couple of weeks with Kenneth Walker and Justin Fields.
Definitely will. So, yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I mean, if it's 4 weeks, Patrick Mahomes can't go, Justin Fields is capable of getting them 2 at least wins and maybe even above 500. So I think it was a pretty good move. Pretty solid. All right. That's it for us. We're back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time, live from Las Vegas, live from the South Point. Thank you, everybody who is watching live, who is jumping in the chat. We appreciate you. Thanks for participating in those excellent poll questions that Vince puts together every single day. Thank you to the crew, Drew Dog cutting the show, and in the back doing all the graphics, Jerry post-show cuts. Sean, who is off today, and then, like I mentioned, Vince doing all of the extra work to make it look good. Thank you to Ryan for putting together all the graphics. Follow our Twitter page, please, at Sports by the Book, at South Point Studio. There are a ton of graphics on there where you're catching odds for the region, for all the props that we have, where you can screenshot it or just save the picture. So very useful stuff there, the graphics you see throughout the entire show. So, all right, Ryan. And your new handle, you want to give that out really quick because you changed it for your for work.
I did. So my new social media handle on Instagram and Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, at Ryductions with an underscore at the end, same as the last one, but a little play on productions with the beginning of my name. So Ryductions there, underscore at the end. Yeah, gonna try and be a little more active, posting my own stuff on those. So
very good. It's tough. It's tough to get in the swing of things, but there is my Alex White Sports as well. But all right, let's have a winning day.
Absolutely.
Good luck, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll be back again in about 23 hours. Happy Tuesday. We'll see you then.